morning to you and welcome to the Friday edition of Trending Issues. Of course, it's the program that comes to you live from AF Television. How are you doing this morning? Thank you so much for joining us on today's program, Trending Issues. My name is still Faith Okanwa, and in the studio I have Udeme James. Udeme, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, together we're going to be looking at some of the issues that are trending, of course, in Nigeria and outside the globe. Don't forget you can join the conversation through all our social media platforms. You can also share, invite your friends to hook up to the conversation this morning. You can also comment and make your contributions on all the topics that we have selected to talk about on the program, Trending Issues. All right, this morning, quickly, we'll start from Lebanon. Something happened yesterday, and of course, you know that in Nigeria here, we have this policy that you cannot withdraw a certain amount of money in a day. You have a limit you can withdraw, and of course it is the same thing in other countries. But in Lebanon, I think it was in 2019, they made a policy that you cannot withdraw more than $400 in a month. But now something happened yesterday at the Federal Bank of Lebanon, and a man that is identified as Bassam al-Sheikh Hussein, he invaded the bank and he held about 8 persons hostage, and he was asking them to release his money that he has, about $200,000 he has been saving in that bank, and now he needed this money to foot his father's medical bill. And of course the bank was saying, we cannot release such amount of money to you because of the policy we have on ground, and you cannot exceed this particular, you cannot take more than this particular amount of money. But this guy refused. He invaded the bank with his rifle and gasoline, threatening to shut down the bank, set himself on fire. James.
It is very laughable because the bank, there is no institution that does not have their laid down rules and regulations. They have their standard. Just like what happens in Nigeria, in most of the banks, in the financial institution we have in Nigeria, you get to understand that even if you want to do transaction, once you exit transaction for the day, there is nothing you can do about it. So it's a policy that has been there for some time. So for the young man to have, gang up some criminals and invade into the bank.
No, he went alone. He did not gang up criminals. He went alone with his rifle and gasoline. He said, if you don't give me this money, I'm going to set this place ablaze.
So it's very, very condemnable because the bank has a stand. I think there's another ways of another procedure would have followed to make sure it's money. Or even it means withdrawing the money maybe on daily basis, or anyhow he's going to do it so that you get the amount of money he's looking for that. But taking that kind of step is not actually good. It's not good. That means it's not just in Nigeria we have people that their head is touching. Even outside the country we have people that can also break rules and regulations.
But you know that this was a matter of life and death. Of course, he said his father was sick and that he needed a huge sum of money to maybe, when you go to hospital and they will tell you you have to deposit a certain amount of money because we cannot even attend to your family member, cannot attend to the patient in question if you don't pay a deposit. So probably the amount for deposit the hospital was asking for is so humongous, so he needed to get about $200,000.
I still believe that there are so many ways you can approach some issues. I can remember vividly when I was in school, then I was in Polytechnic. I think the only money I had in my account my father sent to me was 8,000 naira. So we needed to pay for textbook. I needed to withdraw the whole money. So they now said that was then in First Bank. They now said I can't withdraw the whole money, but I needed that money to pay for my textbook. So when I approached the customer care, they said there's nothing I can do about it. And this is a matter of if I don't buy my textbook, my text, it's going to cost me a whole lot as a student. So I was furious, and I was like, at that point I didn't even know what to do. I approached the bank manager. I spoke with him politely. The man attended to me. I still believe there's one institution that can break protocol because of, especially when it comes to when it has to be a matter of life and death. I think there's a better way of approaching this. You would have been better than invading to the bank with with gun. It's very bad.
But his approach gave him result because when he took hostages, he took even the bank manager and some customers like him as well. He took about 8 of them, and they started negotiating, and he agreed to take a particular sum, and which will be sent to his brother who was in the hospital with his father. Of course, the father is a person that is sick, and he decided to turn in himself to the police. But don't forget that as that thing was happening yesterday, some persons trooped out. They came to the premises of the bank, and they were lauding him. He turned a hero.
Yes, actually, there are places you go. If you want to be a gentleman, they will not attend to you. I've seen cases where, I think there was something that came that surfaced on social media for some time ago, where a woman, has, what's it called, all this transfer of the thing, you do some transaction, the money will not be reflected in your account. So she approached the customer care for some time. They didn't want to listen to her. The woman invaded to the bank and started shouting. She said that if they don't give her money, she's going to deal with everybody. The woman caused a lot of havoc in the bank premises. Before you know, they called her and she was attended to. So I want to do is not really what's it called? It's not really acceptable. There are some cases where if you're not volatile, if you don't speak out, they will not listen to you. So the young man actually did the right thing. Well, I wouldn't say he did the right thing, but I think there are other ways. His approach was not actually good. Yes.
Of course, violence is not good. Yes. And still talking about violence and the rest of them. That one happened in Lebanon. Now in Sierra Leone, since Wednesday, there have been protests in Sierra Leone, and of course, they have been protesting inflation and the high cost of living. Everything is high, and of course, the government seems not to be doing anything, but the citizens decided to take to the street. But it's so unfortunate that that protest turned violent, and of course, according to the police, 8 policemen have been killed in that protest, and the state government have ordered for a curfew. High cost of living, inflation. I will not experience the same thing in Nigeria.
It reminds me of what happened in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, where we had the NSAS protest. It was a nationwide protest. You get to understand that you get to understand that protest is only where the citizens to some extent can register their grievances. But you get to understand that with time, like what happened in NSAS protests in Nigeria, that with time these protests will be hijacked by hoodlums. That was what happened in 2020, where a supposed peaceful protest was hijacked by hoodlums, where properties were destroyed. So it is very, very condemnable that even outside the country, that the government that is supposed to provide dividends of democracy to people are now inflicting pains and not going into the people. So the government should sit up, the government of Lebanon should sit up, make sure that they do the right thing.
Okay, before we continue, let's take a statement from ECOWAS as regards to that protest in Sierra Leone. I'm quoting now. The Commission of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, ECOWAS Commission strongly condemns the violence that occurred in many locations in Sierra Leone and have led to loss of lives. ECOWAS calls on all to obey law and order, and for the perpetrators of the violence to be identified and brought to justice in accordance with the law. Now, these are citizens that are protesting high cost of living and inflation. I know that they are protesting for their right, but choosing violence, is that the right thing? And don't forget that the government, that is the sitting government in Sierra Leone, are saying that it is the opposition party that are sponsoring these protesters.
Like I said now, like there's what we call peaceful protests. That's why when you hear of peaceful protests, like what happened some weeks ago, where Nigerian Labour Congress, in collaboration with ASU, they went on the streets. It was a nationwide protest where they registered their grievances. Nigerian students should go back to classroom. You get to understand that if a peaceful protest has a procedure. The procedure entails that, number one, they have to be registered. You have to tell Nigeria, this is what we want to do. You get to understand that when they are being peaceful protest, you see police following them. Peaceful protest means that, oh, this is what we don't want. This we want the government to do, or to come to our aid. But we get to understand that with time, it will be, what's it called? The peaceful protest will be hijacked by hoodlums. Miscreants will start joining before you know. Properties worth billions or millions of naira will be destroyed. Like, let me also come back to what you say. It does happen in Nigeria where, even Mete, for instance, if one APC as a ruling party, and then if there's a peaceful protest in Nigeria, maybe peradventure it is being hijacked by hoodlums. They like they like apportioning blame the opposition party. It's a normal thing in politics where a sitting government, the ruling government will always blame, will always be accusing opposition party of anything. They like this blame game so much. It's a normal thing in politics.
Alright, it's still trending issues. AF Television. Don't forget to join the conversation this morning via all our social media platforms. There you have the opportunity to like, share, comment on all the topics that we are talking about, and we will take as much as we can on the program. Alright, let's come back to our dear country, Nigeria. And of course, there's so many things that are happening in Nigeria, good and bad, but it seems that the bad is
it's trending.
it's taking much hand. Okay, all right. In Katsina State, yesterday, a report came out that money is missing again. You know, it's been long we had this report of a python swallowed money.
Yes,
yes, monkey swallowed money. But it seems that trend has come back again. In Katsina State, of course, Katsina State government has, it said 31 million naira is missing. Unknown persons invaded the state government house, the account section of that Katsina State government house, and they made away with 31 million naira. How is that even possible? And again, what is 31 million naira doing in a state government house?
I see. You see, it is like what happened some years back where we announced that. You see, the python swallowed millions of naira. It is in Nigeria that this kind of thing will happen. Before you know it, we will not hear it again. Like that money that was swallowed by python, the python has not been found to date. The python has not been found to date. You see, in government treasury, I don't see no reason. Just like you said, there's no reason where money will be found in the office. It's not possible now. Where we have the treasury and the accountant general is supposed to be signatory, and some government officials are supposed to be signatory to the account. So when it's as if this good thing we are daft. The thing we are daft. You can't just come up one day and say that this kind of huge amount of money just disappear all of a sudden. So these are questions. These are certain questions we are asking. How come that the money is supposed to be in the treasury, just like in an office like this. The money is supposed to be deposited in the bank, and you don't just there are due process before this money is withdrawn. Before you withdraw this money,
and don't forget we're running a cashless policy.
Yes. But how come that we have huge, not just thousands of naira, we have millions of naira? How come we have this kind of money in this? So the accountant general should be held responsible. Those members of staff in that place should be held responsible. Especially people working in the finance unit should be held responsible.
Of course, the police have made some arrests and they are doing investigation. But don't forget that this is not the first time it's happening in that state. There was a time, that was in January 2020 or so, about 16 million naira was also missing from the secretary to the state government's coffers. And of course, 2 persons, I think a security operative and 2 workers, were arrested in connection to that missing 16 million. And now we are hearing 31 million naira again. What is actually happening?
That's what, it's a question we are asking ourselves. What is really happening? Who are the people behind these things are happening? It's not really possible that you are telling me that in a place where we have people working, especially the finance, your money will just disappear all of a sudden. So I don't know. It is Nigeria. We just before you bring up on the screen, before a huge amount of money we just go like that.
Well, our leaders should be held accountable, and of course, they have our mandate to govern us.
Yes.
And of course, they owe the citizens and they owe us an explanation to how our money is being handled. I'm still talking about money missing and the rest of them. Yesterday, the storeroom in the House of Representatives section of the National Assembly in Abuja caught fire, but for now I think we're still in the good news part for now, because that fire incident, it was just some documents, papers that were affected, and the furnitures, but we're hoping that maybe by today or tomorrow we'll not hear that maybe millions are missing already.
Okay, well, when it comes to fire outbreak, I see it as just a disaster. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
It can happen if it's something it's something inevitable, something we cannot. Even where you are staying, if you're not careful, even some electrical appliances can have some fire before everywhere will start sparking. Before we'll have a fire outbreak. So I don't see it as anything. I see it as a disaster. But one thing I want to point out here is that it should not be after the world study will tell us this is the amount of money that is missing. Then for the fact that I actually saw the stuff on Punch newspaper this morning, one thing that came to my mind is that in a country where informations are digitalized, we should not be complaining. Just like in a school where certificates are supposed to be saved on the internet, are supposed to be digitalized. You don't tell us that, for instance, in an institution, if there's a fire outbreak, people should not be looking for their transcript and result. They should not be looking for it. So
but the paper is still okay.
And paper is still okay, but in situations like this, there's nothing absolutely you can do about it. A disaster is something that nobody wants it, but sometimes it can happen naturally. You don't can be about it.
But we're hoping that this case they have
yes, we are hoping that
where they can still bring back the documents.
Yes, you see some places, you see some, it's an office where people want to loot money, where people want to siphon money. They may bluntly refuse to have computers, so that most of these documents will not be saved. So just like I said earlier, I'm just praying, I'm hoping that in the next couple of years they will not tell us that these are the amount of money that disappeared.
All right, I hope same too, because we live in a country that will hear some funny stories, but we'll have to deal with that because this is what we found ourselves. But hopefully things will change for good. And it's still trending issues, AF television. Quickly again, let's move to our next story. Of course, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State have been in the news, and you know that he was made the campaign DG of APC Tinubu, APC's presidential candidate. And of course, since he was made that Director General of his campaign organization, he has come under fire, and some persons have been calling on him to refuse that offer. And it always boils down to this Muslim ticket. You know that when Tinubu emerged as the APC's presidential candidate, so many persons were saying, Muslims again, why can't APC bring a Christian candidate? And of course, it became more severe when he decided to choose Shetima, who is also a Muslim. And of course, don't forget, they have come out so many times to throw up defense, saying that it's not about the religion, it's about the choice to unify Nigeria using somebody that is competent enough for that. But now Lalong has been chosen to be the campaign DG, and he is a Christian. But of course, he threw up a defense saying that I'm not going to resign. And of course, the Pope, the Catholic Pope, have not told me that what I've done is wrong, accepting the offer is wrong. And of course, this morning, the Catholic Church have lashed out on him, saying that this is blasphemy. You have to apologize for dragging the Pope, the Catholic Pope, into the mud of Nigerian politics. Is something wrong with a Christian being campaign DG to APC Muslim candidates? Okay,
so let me start from this angle. You get to understand that one of the tedious jobs in Nigerian politics I see so much is being a spokesman, especially in this kind of election we want to experience in 2023, especially with the controversies we're having around as concerning these Muslim ticket. It would have been very it would have been so mild if it's another party like PDP, where we don't have these issues of Muslim ticket, where we have this, we don't have the same faith, the people from the same faith running for the same position, running in the same party. You get to understand that being a spokesperson, there's a lot of controversy, because you have to lie, you know what I mean? You have to do everything possible to make sure you defend. And then another thing I also want to point out is that for him to drag what's it called, the Pope into this issue, you see, it's high time we forget about, it's as if it is only in Christianity that people are making jest of. This is a high desecration of the Christian faith. You don't drag in a faith to something you're benefiting from. You decided to be DG of APC, of the APC campaign organization. There's no point dragging the Pope into this issue. It's not absolutely wrong. It's just like a child that decided to just go, you know what I mean, just become wide in the society. And then the father now decides, okay, since you want to go like this, it's not late for you. Anything you see, you take it. So there are some issues you don't bring in the father. Even if the father is a biological father, there's some father that can disown you. You say, since you want to live your life like this, you can go ahead with it. So bringing the Pope into this issue is not actually good.
But I don't see anything wrong with APC choosing a Christian to be their campaign DG. I mean, being a campaign DG, it doesn't make any difference. You
see the APC, because of the outcry of the masses, where people are crying that you can't have the same faith in the same party. I think they're trying to balance up by bringing. There's nothing wrong for me. There's nothing wrong with bringing a Christian. But people have been saying, why is it that does it mean that he was not qualified? Does it mean that he was not qualified to be picked as a what? As a running mate, how come he's good for this? So that is a problem. There's nothing absolutely wrong, but for him to defend this kind of defense mechanism he's using is what I don't really fancy. People, you see, it is only in the country, in Nigeria, that where people will do everything to benefit. People will try to, as much as they can, to defend a bad system, provided they're benefiting from it, at the detriment of the larger society.
So, but would you advise Lalong to refuse the offer?
It is his choice. It's his choice. He should be judged by his conscience. But I think he's a person that there's nothing wrong if if he's a Christian, if he should be judged by his conscience. If the same faith over time, where in a country where we have different ethnic group, a country that is only polarized by what religion, where we have the same faith, if he should be judged by his conscience.
But he has promised that being a campaign DJ will not affect his role as a governor in the state.
Yes, it may not. I don't know constitutionally if there's any provision for that, because I think as a governor, he's a sitting governor. As a campaign DG, every time you'll be leaving, I think he will be distracted. A sitting governor is not where I don't think maybe there's a provision in the constitution as support that, because I think it's just a mere appointment that just within from now till when election elapses. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But as a sitting governor, it's not ideal, because as a sitting governor, a governor is someone that is laced with so many responsibilities.
So he needs to be focused.
He needs to be focused. He needs to be focused. But maybe because of appointment, very soon, politicians are very calculative. Politicians are the only people that I know that are very calculative. They are not thinking that after being a governor, what is the next line of action? So nobody wants to go back after being a governor now.
But the truth is that in politics is just a matter of interest. Everybody is fighting for his own interest. So what the masses are saying doesn't really play.
That is a problem we have. I learned that politics is interest driven, but once personal interest supersedes that of the masses, it becomes a very big problem. Politics is interest driven. Let's just say the truth. Once somebody goes into politics, so many Nigerian politicians are not after the interest of their family. Let me start from their family. You see their children are outside. Look at what happened now in the country now. Where students have been at home. 14 of this month will make it 7 good months. Nigerian students have been at home for because of ASU strike. But I can beat my chest and tell you that so many Nigerian politicians, their children are outside the shores of Nigeria. They don't care. Do you know why they don't care? Because their children are now in Nigerian university. They don't care about it. It's personal interest we are talking about. It is personal interest that will make a politician to siphon money, and money that's made for masses. Some of them will go as far as stealing more than 1 billion, billions of naira, build houses, build mansions outside the country, and they'll be showing us on their social media. Even when their children graduate, they will not show us. They even have the mind to showcase their children. You have the mind to show us if AFNEWS is on social media. It is only in Nigeria we are seeing that. So when personal interest supersedes that of the masses, it becomes a very big problem.
Alright, still trending issues. AF Television, don't forget to join the conversation this morning via all our social media platforms. Drop your comments and make your contributions on all the topics that we are talking about on the program, Trending Issues. Don't forget, on this program we'll talk about issues that are trending in Nigeria and of course outside the globe. You can also like and share, invite your friends to hook up on what we're doing this morning. Alright, to the next story. Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State been in the news, and of course he did something that most people on the normal day will laud him. And of course he donated about 25 million naira to a church. They went for a Thanksgiving, but the most shocking part was when he said he was going to give a special package to the Bishop of Uyo Diocese, the Catholic Bishop of Uyo Diocese, that's John Ebebe Aya. And of course the bishop declined. He told him, please, if you have any special package for me, just take it, add more money to it, and pay up salaries of workers.
Okay, Faith, I would say that bishop is a bishop of Metropolitan Catholic Metropolitan Diocese of Bishop Catholic. Is he calling Metropolitan Diocese of Uyo as Catholic Diocese? Bishop John Ebebe Aya. He's a living saint. When I call him a living saint because he's that particular thing he did is rare. So many bishops, I'm so sorry to say this, so many pastors are induced by money. It is in Nigeria where we have, even in Cannes, I'm sorry to say this on television, even in Cannes, pastors are being bought with money. Of course, you know what happens sometimes where some people, disguise themselves, they call themselves bishops.
Non-bishops.
You know that before somebody would do that now, I don't know if they were pastors, so before somebody do that, they did that because of what? Their stomach infrastructure. They want money. Even in the Christendom, even in Christianity, even amongst the pastors, even amongst the bishops and popes, some of them are being bought by politicians. They will go and pray for politicians. So it is only in Nigeria you see pastors. I know there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, we should pray for our leaders. But once we are being induced by money, it becomes a problem. It is only in Nigeria that we even see some highly placed pastors are praying for politicians that are stealing our money.
But the Bible said we should pray for
yes,
leaders.
The Bible says we should pray for leaders, but not when somebody is not doing well. I want to say this, let's hit the nail on the neck. What the bishop did is something that so many pastors, even in some churches, will not, especially in some Pentecostal churches. I have to respect the Catholic faith. I'm not the Catholic, but I have to respect. So many pastors in Catholic church, some of them are so disciplined. You hardly see this in most of the Pentecostal churches we have around.
So are you saying that the pastor should not be praying for the leaders?
There's nothing wrong with
those that are not doing well?
I'm not saying they should not pray for it, but in this case you are talking about, do you know that there are so many pastors that you even pray and you make they will even give him award that day as the best governor of the year. So for that bishop to have rejected that, the man for me is a national hero.
But the governor was quick enough to take the mic on that in that service, and he said, "I am not owing workers' salaries."
It is not for it is faith. If he say he's not owing anybody's salary in Cross River State, if you go to Cross River State and ask people from that side, is your governor owing you? So you don't just like, if you are from Abia State here, you go to say that, oh, are they owing? Is Abia State government? Are they owing this? It's only somebody from Abia State that can justify that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Ben Ayade will have to go back and see if he is owing some persons. Of course, it is a good one that the bishop refused that special offer. But don't forget, they did not reject the 25 million.
At least he made a statement. I love that. The man is a national hero.
He has sent a message. Maybe that was God's message to the governor.
He should go and sit up.
And we hope that the governor has received that in good faith. All right, that is how we'll call it a wrap on today's edition of Trending Issues. And I came to you